So the algorithm which we are going to discuss regarding the implementation of the blockchain technology is the MD5, the world's one of the world's most popular algorithm, which was introduced by the three great people who have done a lot of work in the area of computer science and network security. We say the RSA people, Ravish, Shamir, and the Edelman, who have done a lot of good work. So we can see here the algorithm was launched in April 1992, roughly around 30 years back, by the RSA Data Security Company. Uh, First draft was released by Ron Rivest. So we can see here R Rivest. The R stand for the R of the RSA, Rivest, Shamir, and the Edelman. And he was working with MIT, and this algorithm is being released as a RFC, request for comments number 1321, because whenever any algorithm hits the industry for the first time, it is released in the form of request for comment, what we call RFCs. RFCs is a white paper or the open source document which is released worldwide, so that all the people, all the academician and the researcher and the industry corporate guys who are working in that particular domain can throw up the comments. They can challenge it, they can throw the criticism that this is a drawback or the flaws in this algorithm and they need to be further improved. So this was the first algorithm proposed by in this field of hashing by the RSA guys, Rivest, Shamir, and the Edelman algorithm. So this is acknowledgement they have done in the table of content, the executive summary. Yeah. Now this is important, which everyone should read uh, silently and clearly. This document describes the MD5 algorithm. The algorithm takes as an input a message of arbitrary length. Now what we are trying to say is there is no limit on the bit length of the message. I can have 16-bit message, 32-bit message, 64-bit message, 128-bit message. So I can have the message of arbitrary length and produces a fixed length output of 128-bit, what we also call fingerprint or a message digest or simply a hash. They are all synonyms. You can use them in any way. So you call it the fingerprint. That's the word they gave in 1992. You call it the message digest, or you simply use the word hash, which later on came to be known as hashes. So we say the MD5 algorithm is intended for digital signature application. Because that was the first point the RSA guys said. Ki in 1992, when they released this, digital signature was in the stage of coming up. It was a stage of evolution. So they thought that since we are talking of security of the document, not with the help of the traditional signatures, but with the help of digital signatures, they proposed it that MD5 algorithm can find its application in the digital signature world, where a large file must be compressed in a secure manner before being encrypted with a private secret key under the public key crypto system such as a RSA. Now, we have discussed in the past also, when we talk of the cryptography, there are two branches of cryptography, symmetric and asymmetric. Symmetric is one where I use a single shared uniform symmetric key, both for carrying out encryption as well as decryption. But in the case of asymmetric cryptography, we use a pair of keys, one public key and one private key for carrying out the encryption and decryption. So in the symmetric cryptographic algorithms, we have got the DES, data encryption standard. We have got a AES, advanced encryption standard, introduced by John Demon and Vincent Ridgment. Then we have got the asymmetric, one of the most popular algorithms is RSA, the Rivest, Shamir, and the Edelman algorithm, where I use a pair of keys. That is what they are saying here, private secret key, which is known exclusively to you, and the public key crypto system, such as the RSA algorithm. One of the best example, which I think we have discussed earlier also, is the what we say usage of the locker in a bank. Your brother, sister, parents might be having locker in the bank, and when you want to operate that particular locker, then we require two keys, one which you are having in your possession and the one which the bank is having in its possession. So whenever you want to visit a bank to take out the jewelry from the locker, or you want to put a jewelry into the locker, you will visit a bank will have a register, they have given you the key, you enter the key number there in the register manually, you enter your account number, you enter your name, your phone number, you enter, put a signature into the locker register, and then one official from the bank will take out a key, and then he and you both goes to the locker. He will operate his key first, and then you operate your key. Then only the locker gets opened. So that's the best example of public and private key system. Private key you are having in your own possession, which you have to safely safeguard it. Otherwise, it might get lost. Public key is something which the bank is having, the officials of the bank is having. So if there is certain dacoity or the theft that take place in the bank and they lose out the key, then they are going to face a grave problem that how they will operate it. Then additionally, they might have a duplicate keys kept at some other location, because one location can get burgled up, not all the locations. So hopefully they have kept a duplicate copy of the key which they are having, so that there is no loss at the customer's end and he can still safely operate his bank account. Moving on. Yeah, the MD5 algorithm is designed to be quite fast on 32-bit machines. Now we are talking of the 30 years back. So now, since I am working in the area of security, and since you have also been in the area of computer science for almost 5 to 6 years now, these are the people who have done a lot of work, good work. So just think that around 1990, they were thinking of the security of the data. And let me tell you, even by 95 and 96, there were very few places in India where we got a computers. So we were just learning how to operate the machines in 1990, and they were thinking of security of the data in 1990. That's a huge shift. Yeah, the huge bridge between what they were doing and what we as a country were evolving. Rather, entire Asia was evolving at that point of time. But now we have really caught up with them. Now the lag is really small, but it was very, very huge at that point of time. So these people were really ahead of their times, and that is why they got Turing Award for their outstanding contribution and research. I think again, I would have discussed it. Nobel, we do not have a Nobel Prize in computer science, but equivalent award we have got is a Turing Award, which is given to outstanding research work in the area of computer science, breakthrough research work. So, and the RSC people were able to get this award for their outstanding research work in the area of the computer science. Same way, if you look at these people who developed the programming languages, uh, the C programming language came in 1979. Kernighan and they introduced the C programming language. Then Bijan Stroustrup introduced C++ in 1982. So these were the people who were really ahead by many, many years. And they gave a lot of contribution in the area of computer science. What we are using today is primarily the work done by these people so many years back. Uh, in 79, in 82s, then James Gosling came up with the 1991, the Java programming language. So we were talking of 32-bit machines in 1990s. In addition, the MD5 algorithm does not require any large substitution tables. Now, if you compare the working of MD5 algorithm with the DES algorithm, data encryption standard algorithm, MD5 algorithm is much more secure. In the sense it does not use a large substitution tables what the DES algorithm does, because these substitution table can leaked out and the hackers can come to know that what is the kind of substitution you are doing in your algorithm. So DES was vulnerable to hacking because it was using a predefined substitution tables, which is not being used in the MD5 algorithm. That is why when we talk of the blockchain technology, and when Satoshi Nakamoto introduced this for the very first time, he did not made use of the cryptographic techniques like Caesar cipher, Vineyard cipher, Railfine cipher, Affine cipher, hill climbing cipher. He did not use any one of them. He did not use any of the cryptographic algorithms like DES, the AES, the RSA, uh, or the Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm. He did not use any one of them. He used the hashing algorithms like the MD5 and the SHA, because he thought and his thought process was correct. Matlab, 13 years down the line, if I look at the mindset of that person, he was absolutely right that we cannot rely on the cryptographic techniques and algorithms to provide a security of data in the blockchain. We must use the better, secure algorithms, called what we call hashing algorithms, which are much more reliable, which are much more secure because they're not vulnerable to hacking. I don't say they cannot be hacked. The answer is clearly no. But yes, they are much more secure because their internal functionality, the coherence that brings, it's very, very strong as compared to the traditional cryptographic techniques and algorithms. Then the next paragraph, they do a comparison with the MD4 and the MD5, which I will share the document. You can go through them if you're interested in this, going through literature of it. If you're good in mathematics, then yes, you should enjoy learning and going through this algorithm, because they require a good mathematical background and a good mathematical base to understand it. And then you can come up with the improvisation that yes, this is how I can improve it by, let's say they have the 5 rounds. So you can add 2 more rounds, make it 7 round algorithm. Or you say, why they have used 5 rounds? Can't I cut it down to 3 rounds? Yes, you can cut it down to 3 rounds. But then again, if you compare your algorithm with the hashing algorithm, security should not get compromised. And since they produced this algorithm 30 years back, you can definitely improve it. You can definitely enhance it many folds at that point of time. Now let's look at the second point, terminology and notation. They have described a word. Now, word is a 32-bit quantity and we all know that byte is a 8-bit quantity, so nothing more to discuss on that. Yeah. The other, I have highlighted the important part which we need to discuss, otherwise it will take much more longer time to discuss the entire algorithm. So what I thought relevant, I have highlighted that part, and then if you are interested, you can go through each and every line of the algorithm later on. Now they have used an expression called x underscore I. So let x underscore I denote x sub I. If the subscript is an expression, yeah, if the subscript is an expression, we surround it in braces as in x underscore I plus 1. Similarly, we use this exponentiation operator, or what we call caret operator, for superscripts, what we call exponentiation, so that x caret I or x super exponentiation I denote x to the ith power. So this is just a understanding from the terminology they are going to use ahead in their algorithm. Just a brief touch of it, which I think is all comfortable and easier. This is what they are going to use ahead in their functionality of the algorithm. Let me slightly reduce the font size so that somewhere we can have the fit values. You can also see it on the, yeah. Let the symbol plus denote the addition of words, which I think is understandable. Modulo 2 raised to power 32 addition. Let x and then 3 less than operator s denote 32-bit value obtained by circularly shifting, that is rotating x left s bit position. So what we need to do, circular left shift operation. So x and 3 times less is what they mean by circular shifting rotation, x left by s bit positions. So you need to take your decimal digit, the decimal data, to the binary data, and then apply this shifting operation, x left shift position by s bit position. Let not of x denote the bitwise complement of x, and let x or y denote the bitwise or of x and y, and let x exclusive or y. Now exclusive or, I hope everyone remembers when they did the computer organization and architecture subject, exclusive or produces the output of 1 when both the inputs are different, and exclusive or produces output of 0 when both the inputs are same. So if you remember the Karnaugh map, K map and K table, we would have discussed about the logic gates and or not, exclusive or. So this is just a usage what they have used these operators in their algorithm. Let x exclusive or y denote the bitwise exclusive or of x and y, and let xy denote the bitwise and of x and y. So x and y are going to be we'll discuss, certain inputs will be provide, and just remember here, in the MD5 algorithm, input can be of arbitrary length, and the output will always be of 128 bit. Now, if you might have missed this statement, this is where it went. Yeah, the algorithm takes input a message of arbitrary length and produce a fixed length output of 128 bit. Now, why I have highlighted, because if you compare the working of the DS algorithm, then it was not possible there. They took, they were able to produce the output of variable sizes, which was creating a problem. So here you can have the inputs of variable size. Now again, I can do the padding. Kindly mute everyone. Yeah. Now let's say I have got a string. My string length comes around 60 bits, right? Now I should not give a 60 bit as an input. We know in computer science we go for the 2 raised to power, right? 2 raised to power n. So I should give the input as 16 bit or 32 bit. Abhilasha, go into the mute mode. Yeah. So I should give the input as 2 raised to power n, where n could be the, again, my even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8. It could be like that. So I can give the input as 32-bit length or 64-bit length or 128-bit length or 256-bit length or maybe 512-bit length or 1024 and 2048. It can go on and on and on, something like that. Now I need to give the inputs. Now if I have got a string, now I convert the strings to the numbers. From the decimal number, I convert it to the binary number. Now, from the binary number, the length comes to be around, let's say, 60 bits. Now, I should not give 60 bit as an input. I need to do the padding of 4 bits so as to make it 64 bit. And then I provided 64 bit as an input to the my number, the input to the MD5 algorithm. So we move it down, and we have seen the basic part of it, and 32-bit machines we have discussed, byte we have discussed, X subscription standard we have discussed. Yeah, MD5 algorithm description. We begin by supposing that we have B-bit message as input. So message can be arbitrary length. I cannot force anybody, I cannot force the user to provide me with a message of any size. He can give it any kind of message. For example, I give the GGS IPU University in the first instance. Then I say uh, USICT GGS IPU University. That's become a second string. Then I give USIT GGS IP University Dwarka as my third string. So I can give my multiple kind of the input can be given by me. So that depends upon me how long I can give that kind of the input. So message can be arbitrary in length. Now first thing what we need to do is step one, append padding bits. The message is padded, extended so that its length in bit is congruent to 448 modulo 512. That is, the message is extended so that it is just 64-bit shy of being a multiple of 512 bits long. Now this is important statement here, and padding is always performed. So you can see this, always we will do the padding even if the length of the message is already congruent to 448 modulo 512 bit. So what I need to, I'll take the input from the user. Now input can be variable in size in bits. I need to do the padding because you can see here RSA says padding is always performed even if the length of the message is already congruent to 448 modulo 512. So everything is being done in terms of
इसका स्क्रीनशॉट ले ले जरा
Abhilasha, go
इसमें
in the
छांट
mute
लो
state.
इसमें
Everyone
छांट लो
please
कौन सा
remain mute.
तुम्हारा
Now
तो
padding
सिर्फ
is,
एक है
everyone remain in the mute state. Now padding is always performed even if the length of the message already. Shave, switch off the mic. Now padding will always perform. Now let's see the onus of padding, how it will be done. Now it says a single 1 bit is appended to the message and then 0 bits are appended so that the length in bits of the padded message become congruent to 448 modulo 512. So we'll do the modulo with the 512 bits. In all, at least 1 bit and at most 512 bits are appended. So minimum 1 bit to append, padding has to be done. That's clear from the RSA that you need to do a padding. So that is what they say. In all, you do minimum 1 bit of padding and at most 512 bits are appended to make the message congruent to 448 modulo 512. We will see an example how to do it. Once the padding has been done, now we go and append the length. So a 64-bit representation of B. What is B? The length of the message before padding bits were added. So when we talk of this alphabet B, so what does it B comprises? B is a bit. Now what is that length? Now what is the contents of the B? It actually contains the length of the message before the padding bits were added. So let's say I enter the string of GGS IP University Dwarka. So this is a string. I will map it to the numbers, convert it to decimal numbers, and then I map the decimal numbers to binary numbers. Then this will I will count that what is the length of this message before the padding bits were added, and then I will append it to the rest of the previous step. In the unlikely event that b is greater than 2 raised to power 64, then only lower order 64 bits of the b were used. These bits are appended as two 32-bit words. So we are looking for 64-bit word. We will not use directly 64-bit at one go. We will create a set of two 32-bit words, making it a length as 64-bit. And appended lower order word first in accordance with the previous conventions. At this point, the resulting message, this we can skip because this is, they explain it further down the line, the same thing what they have done. Then we say initialize the MD buffer. MD is a message digest buffer. Now they will start using some buffers. Let's see what those buffers are. A 4-word buffer ABCD is used to compute the message digest. Here each of the ABCD is a 32-bit register. So they will start using a 32-bit register. So each register is ABCD. That means 32, 32, 32, 32. 32 into 264, 64 into 128. So we are going to use a 128-bit register total in length. Now why 28? Because if you have seen right in the beginning, they said the RSS said that a message can be arbitrary in length in input, but in the output mode we will always get 128-bit output. That was a fixed size message they are going to produce. These registers are initialized to the following value in the hexadecimal position, lower order byte first. That's how the typical convention goes. So yeah, now these are it's all in hexadecimals. So we can see here word A, the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, word B, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F, F, E, D, C, B, A, and then they go back 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, 0. So these are the buffers they have started initializing. A 4-word buffer A, B, C, D, they have done it. Now in the step 4, this says process the message in 16-word blocks. Now we were having 32-bit registers, right? So 32 into 4 got us 128-bit. Now we need to process the message. The input message is being provided by the user. Now what do we do that? We create a 16-word blocks. We deal them. We process them in 16-word blocks. So we first define 4 auxiliary functions that each take as an input 3 32-bit words and produce as output 1 32-bit word. So they define the functions. So what are those functions? If you look at them, the way they have defined it. So we say f is a function of x, y, and z. And what is the decode? What will it comprise of? X, y, or not of x dot z. G is a function of x, y, z. Now these are all buffers which have been initialized earlier. Is equal to x, z, or y not of z. H is a function, auxiliary function, with 3 input x, y, and z, which are going to be expanded as x exclusive or y exclusive or z, and I being the function of x, y, z, which is equal to y exclusive or x or not of z. Now these are the 4 different functions they are defining, and what they are saying, if you look at the line at the top, which take input as 332-bit words. So these are going to be 332-bit words, x, y, and z, and produce an output as 132-bit word. Right? So that's how going to be the output they're going to produce in the step number 4. Now the function GHI are very similar to the function f and they will do in a bitwise parallel manner. Now before we produce further, just to for the sake of clarity and convenience, what I will do, I will share an example so that you can understand it in a better way. So let me stop sharing and then share a example so that you can understand in a better way. There are certain URLs. Let me take you to one of them. Yeah. I will share the URL in the chat window also. You can also open it up if you are interested and you would like to do it parallelly along with me so that you can also do it same thing. So it's MD5 hash calculator. So now if I'm a programmer and I'm doing a programming in the blockchain, one option is that I should do it. If I'm using MD5 algorithm, I should write the program on my own in Java or Python or C# or MeanStack, Mongo, Express, Angular, and Node.js, or in the MERN stack anyway, PHP. I should write my own code. Other option is that I can use certain hash calculator already available on the web, and they will make my life simpler because I need to generate the hash value of the data which is being provided as an input to the MD5 algorithm. So let's say I enter the string as GGS IP University, right? Now it will perform all the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Now I am not doing padding from my own side, but the step 1 always said do the padding so as to make your data to 448-bit congruent to 512. So I click on the calculate MD5 hash and it generates the hash value for me. So I can simply pick up the content from here, hash, add it to your clipboard. So you can use Control C, Control V, do, and you can take it to the code which you are writing in Python or Java and C++ for the generation of the blocks in a blockchain. And you can copy and paste this code directly into the particular block. Okay, this is my hash value when I'm using the MD5 algorithm. So this tutorial is good in the sense it discusses about what is MD5 algorithm. It's a cryptographic hash function that calculates 128-bit hash value. And then the how long is the MD5 hash? MD5 is always fixed at 128-bit string or 32 hexadigit log. Then they discuss the difference between the MD4 and now MD algorithm is a series. The multiple flavors are available. MD1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what is the difference between MD4 and MD5? MD5 algorithm has 4 rounds, 64 steps, whereas MD4 algorithm use 48-bit step. That is only the 3 steps. So this is a cut down version. A shortened version of the MD5 algorithm is MD4. Each step of the MD5 has unique additive constant, where each round of MD4 uses a fixed constant. So that's another added feature in the MD5. The function G in the second round of MD5 is less symmetric than the G function in the MD4. So every round, every flavor, every variant will add some more thing. So MD2 is a superset of MD1, MD3 is enhanced version of MD2, MD4 is an enhanced version of MD3, and MD5 is an enhanced version of MD4. That's because they keep on adding something to every kind of the steps. They keep on adding few steps. So that's how we can calculate the hash values. I don't need to write a program for the generation of hash value. I can use this predefined hash calculator. Now let me enhance the string as GGS IP University Dwarka, and I calculate the MD5. It will give me altogether new hash value. So this becomes my new hash value because the string has changed. So step 1 will be done, padding will be done. Then I will calculate the message length is B. That was a B contain the length of the message. Then I do the padding, initially 1 bit and thereafter a series of zeros. That means I work according to the functionality as specified in the RFC of the MD5 algorithm. Now, if I want to go more into the detail, okay, how each and step is working, how padding is getting done, then let me take it to another hash calculator that will that serve as a good example of how to do it the things in a better way, because then you can come to know more about it. I've shared the URL in the chat window, so you can open it up. Now, this is a very good portal or very good site that talks of the MD5 algorithm demonstration. So following example, demonstrant walks through the portion of the MD5 algorithm step by step for your personal message. Enter a message in the text below. Do not add extra spaces or column. Now what I am a user. I can give any kind of the input. So let's say in my blockchain, there is a data which talks of this saving the security. So GGS IP University, Dwarka, Delhi. So that's something which I want to safeguard. I want to secure. Now that's any of the data which can you take in any example. I've just taken random example. You can use a bank account number, you can use a credit card number, you can use a PNR numbers, any kind of number which you want to secure using a blockchain. I've taken a simple string which is understandable and convenient to everyone. Now it says convert. So I convert my simple string into its corresponding ASCII bit code representation of your message. So I can see here, this is the conversion they have done. So I've got 8-bit registers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I've got my 8-bit equivalent and so many registers I've got. So my data has been converted. That's the first step we have done. Now the next paragraph demonstrates the padding technique used for MD5 and explain how the padding technique works. So I say pad my message because I need to satisfy the part of it where it says 448 congruent to 512. If you remember the statement here, it says congruent to 448 modulo 512. So what do I do here? I say pad my message. Simple. Now it says your message contains 232 bits. So these are 232 bits of my message. The message will be padded to make it 448 modulo 512 bits long. Since your message is 232 bit, we will add 216 bit. So 232 plus 216 makes it 448, because 448 modulo 512 is 448, and so we will add 1 0 and 215 0 because my original message is already 232 bit. Now what I need to do, I need to add 216 bits more. Now in the 216 bit, how the padding will be done? First bit will be 1 and thereafter 215 zeros. So we will add 1 and 215 0.